Hey, Colin, we're live.
Hi.
Good evening and welcome to Separated by Water on this fine evening. Um, it's the podcast for fans of English clubs on this side of the Irish Sea. That's who we're really for, and anyone else who wants to join in. My name's Colin Campbell. I'm a season ticket holder with Tottenham Hotspur for my sins. My co-host is Paul Galt, a Nottingham Forest fan. Hi, Paul.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Probably better than you just at the moment, but anyway, we'll probably come to that. Our special guest tonight is Colin Todd, not that one, who's a Man City devotee, and he'll be taking us through developments with the citizens just at the moment. And we'll be asking him really, is it the moon or the mood that's blue these days at the Etihad? Change times. Okay, a couple of other wee bits we'll be doing. I'll be giving a brief update on my visit to see the Bodo Gimp team and a very good Emerald Eye this week, a gentleman of great legend. And it wouldn't be complete without asking Paul to tell us what on earth's going on at the City Ground. Anyway, okay, let's go. I can remember from the 1960s, the great Manchester City team. Yes, I'm not old. They won everything. They were either in their sky blue or their red and black stripes. Some fabulous players. It's almost unthinkable nowadays that they disappeared into the third tier at one stage. But those of us who are much younger will have seen nothing but trophies in recent years. So, Colin, you're very, very welcome. Thanks for coming on. We're looking forward to hearing what you're saying. Okay, Paul.
Welcome, Colin. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you.
Colin, you're a City fan. We always start with the usual question, taken from that accent that you're from Belfast. Why Man City, and when did you start supporting Man City?
Actually from Bangor, County Down.
Okay.
Bangor.
Bangor. I actually started, I was born in 63. As you were saying, City had a great team around the turn of the decade, 69, 70. But it wasn't until I was maybe 8 that I started supporting Man City. And I can recall one Christmas having a pair of football boots and a black and red top bought for me for Christmas. It was a toss-up between Man City and Spurs. Me and my wee mates decided who we were going to support. One went for Arsenal, one went for Man United, and I chose Man City because of Francis Lee and Colin Bell and Summerby and Big Joe Corrigan. So that's my first memories of supporting Man City.
You had a long wait for success, but I say at the minute you still made the right choice because Spurs are still waiting on success, and Arsenal are still waiting on success.
God, it's comedy night tonight.
You made the right choice, I think. I think you made the right choice.
The first trophy was actually the League Cup. I think Hartford scored an overhead kick in the final.
Yeah.
If I'm right.
Yes, that's right.
No, sorry, it was Dennis Stewart.
Against Newcastle, yeah.
What year was that?
Newcastle. Yeah.
Well, moving forward, Colin, this season you'll probably win the FA Cup now that you've knocked somebody out of the semi-final, and you'll probably qualify for the Champions League. But is there still a feeling of disappointment amongst Blues fans? You know, is this accurate? And if so, are you getting a little bit greedy?
I personally wouldn't be greedy because I've been a City fan for so many years that winning anything with City was a bonus. Just the last few years, they've done really, really well. But any team at the start of the season, any mediocre team, be happy where we've got to. And you just can't expect trophies every year. You will have a blip every now and again. And injuries, quite a lot of injuries this year. Obviously, Rodri, Stones is never fit nowadays. Ake, Oscar Bob, all sort of not great injuries. As you say, I didn't think it was a good idea to let Kyle Walker go. Not at this stage, just not earlier on. So, because you're trying to play Nunes at right back. I don't think he's a right back.
Okay.
And Rico Lewis, good enough in midfield, but not a right back. But I'm happy enough where they are.
Fair enough. I mean, I think it's a remarkable achievement. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that.
Well, you think, Colin, you always have the habit of every time we think that something's going wrong at City, you know, that the afterburners go on at the last part of the season, and you always seem to do well. And you know, we talked just before we started there. I think there were two pivotal times. One was Rodri getting injured. That was massive for you. And the second one was when Kyle Walker left you. I just thought that the back looked very loose after all that, you know. But congratulations on winning the semi-final of the FA Cup, as he says, through gritted teeth. I've had several videos sent to me from it and watched it on TV. So you didn't have the uptake of tickets that you normally have. Why do you think that is? Is it because you've been at Wembley so often, or what's the reason? Have you any clue what the reason is for that?
I just think it's so costly, and as you say, we're just used to being there nearly every year that they just didn't. Maybe a bit of protest at the current the ticket prices that are going to come next season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of clubs doing that as well. Yeah, because I think your ticket prices went up considerably. Yep.
We can all relate to that. You know, when you're trying to get match tickets and they are very expensive, particularly for people who travel a lot. And I know City have a big travelling support. Yeah, yeah. Maybe you sort of touched on this, but I just wondered, you know, in my opinion, City sort of collapsed mid-season. I think possibly worse than simply Rodri or simply Walker, maybe a combination. I think it was something more than that. It looked like the players to me were punctured or something. The winning mentality had gone out of them. Would you agree? And if so, how does that get fixed?
I don't know. There's quite a lot of things maybe going on in the background. Maybe the charges against them. Maybe the fact that Pep's and his wife split up, you know, could be a lot of different factors. Do you know what I mean? Injuries, as you said. But they seem to have turned it around a bit here now. But there's a lot of players that I'm saying they're just on the verge of their sell-by date. Yeah. I think we need to get a few more players.
Rebuild. Yeah.
Rebuild. Mm-hmm. I think we've got far too many wingers. Far too many wingers. You know, we need a couple of guys in midfield that can play football, but be attacking, defensive and attack minded.
Yeah. It looks like you're going to get one of ours. Yeah, I think Morgan Gibbs White's very strongly linked with you. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition or not. I hope it doesn't, because our team's built round them, and I'm not sure where it'll leave us, but it looks that way. Yeah. As a Forest supporter, we got docked points last year, and I know that you are facing the 115 charges. First thing I say, what is the fans' feelings going to happen? And the second thing is, what would be the fair thing that should happen?
Sorry, say that again, the first part.
First, what do you think is going to happen about the charges? Do you think there's any of it going to be found guilty, or are the lawyers going to keep it at bay, or what do you think is going to happen?
Firstly, I don't know what the charges are. Do you know exactly what the charges are? Do you know, so I can't really comment on that. Or do you know,
no bother. That's fine.
But if they have to get points taken off them, then so be it. If they broke the law, they broke the rules. They broke the rules. Yeah. But I don't think the players done the business on the pitch. So there's something. You know what I mean?
Do you think? Well, can I ask you then? Do you think this has cast a shadow over the breakdown in play in the middle of the season? Do you think it sort of affected the way things were?
Not that there totally, because sure, this has been going on for a few years now. It didn't affect us a few years before that.
Yeah.
Unless just because it's coming to a head, maybe.
Yeah, I had a theory. Sorry, go ahead, Colin. I'm really interested to hear this.
Yeah, maybe it's because it's come to a head now, but I think it's being put back a year or something. So I don't know. Then you keep hearing these things in the press about different rules and they were unenforceable and stuff like that there. So I don't know what will happen, but it will
Wait and
come,
see.
have to come to a head some stage.
Yeah, I think
Because you can't dock other
I think
teams' points and not Man City.
yeah, I think for the
Well, that's very
Premiership and for everybody else, I think it needs to be dealt with as soon as possible and take this away from hanging over our heads, sitting waiting on it every day, waiting is there going to be an announcement, is something going to happen? But yeah, I think it should happen soon. Yeah, I agree with that.
At the end of
personal
the day,
opinion. Both of you guys. Go ahead. Sorry, Colin. Go ahead.
if Manchester City do get found guilty of charges, I think it'll be and quite a few other teams who'll be sweating.
Yeah,
The same issues.
yeah.
Interesting.
I think
I am kind of, I know Forrest would talk, and I understand the sort of motion in that, and I'm not sure whether this is realism or skepticism, and I'm genuinely not. I think that I've said this, and I'm on record, that I think whatever penalty City get will be nominal and ineffective in the sense, for example, they could either be fined money that they can easily pay, or if they qualify for the Champions League by 4 points, they'll be docked 3. I don't think it's in the league's interest in many ways to cause a major hassle with a team that has been so successful over the last while. Personal opinion. So I would love to see it resolved quickly, whatever the resolution is, that's just my own personal opinion. Otherwise, I think it would already have been resolved or finalised. There you go.
yeah.
What?
Following on from that,
Yeah.
do you think Pep is bulletproof? Do you think he is the best manager in the league?
At the moment, he's probably the best manager around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's not bulletproof. Everybody has their flaws.
Yeah.
There's times we've played matches and I wondered, what is he doing? Why is he playing this team? Know what I mean? Done on quite a few occasions put what I said is not the right team to do the job.
Mm.
Yeah.
He does have an aura. To me, he's an aura that, probably like Clough, maybe Ferguson, and whatever he did, it just seemed to be right. And I watched a game City played probably 3 seasons ago now at Old Trafford, where not only did they beat Man United, but they outplayed them. And things I saw were the way he changed how Kyle Walker played. He just changed him as a player. He changed John Stones as a player. I thought this guy is the business, because not only does he buy big, expensive names, but he works with them. And I just sense I've seen a bit less of that recently. I wonder, maybe, is Pep just not as fired up as he was? How often can you go on winning, and keeping that hunger up? And I wondered after they'd won the Champions League that year when they beat Inter, I thought he would really be firing to come back and do it again, and it hasn't just turned out so far. Maybe that's why they'll qualify. They'll maybe qualify this year and go for it next season. It's a big, close season for City, isn't it?
Yeah. You see, that to win the Champions League, you could be the best team in the world, but I think it takes a bit of luck to win it. Definitely does. It takes a wee bit of luck here and there,
Yeah. Or a penalty that didn't hit the player's arm outside the penalty area after 18 seconds. That helps as well.
Yeah.
That's just getting my bit in 2019.
Maybe a new format sort of mucked us about, the new format where we're losing games for silly games we should be winning.
Yeah, I thought maybe some of the bigger teams, so I can lose a couple now and we'll make it up at the end, but it wasn't really quite like that. I'd done on one of our podcasts, we'd done a wee piece on that to try to explain it, and I did my best. At the time, I was skeptical. I maybe came around to it a wee bit more towards the end, but we'll see. You've got Inter on one side, and I don't want to say anything about the other side, but it could be a very refreshing final, given that some of the old, the usual suspects aren't there. See how that goes. Yeah. But
wouldn't actually mind Arsenal being in the final.
You can see it or you can see it.
Sorry, you cut out badly there, Colin. I couldn't hear a word.
I
you
wouldn't
said.
actually mind Arsenal having another go at winning it.
No, you
Yeah.
cut out badly again. I'm sorry, I can't hear that.
Yeah.
No,
I think
no.
I think PSG are going to romp all over them tonight. I really do. I think they're going to.
Don't you say too
I
much.
just
I haven't got my
can't see it.
lucky
I can't see
jersey
Arsenal
here.
making it through tonight. But that's only my opinion. And I have Arsenal
Yeah.
friends, of Man United friends, of Spurs friends. So
Well,
I'll just stay out of it.
tonight I'll be cheering for Paul Stewart Gold.
The PSG.
But no, I didn't say
Right. Well, Colin, thank you. Do
Okay.
you go over to many games, Colin? Do you?
See, to be quite honest with you, no. I've only ever been over to the Etihad once.
Right.
I don't get over.
Yeah.
Clearly, the fact is, I'm one of these guys. Don't like booking things unless somebody books a holiday for me.
Okay, good.
I don't go. So lucky enough, a City friend of mine booked one, and we all went over to the Etihad last year. But we're meant to go this year, but we never got around to it. Just with work and stuff like that, I don't have. I have so many other hobbies that I just haven't time to do everything. I guess go all over, like Donegal and down Galway, all salmon fishing,
Right.
and do a bit of shooting in the shooting season. So it can't be
Do
everywhere.
Hopefully,
do
we
everything.
haven't,
No, you can't.
hopefully we haven't annoyed you then.
No. I worked driving for a company, and then I have a wee workshop. I do work nights and weekends as well, so I'm very busy.
Yeah. Final question: Who do you think's the player you're going to miss most for next season?
Obviously, De Bruyne.
Isn't it obvious, really? I suppose,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. How do you feel about him going? He seems a bit reluctant.
I don't know. There's talk about him maybe staying. I don't know.
All right. Okay.
But we faced all these problems before. Like
yeah.
Who's going to replace Company? Who's going
Yes, that's
to
true.
replace Silva? Who's going to replace Yaya Toure? They're all replaceable at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah.
Somebody has to retire. They have to retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your recruitment team is very good. I think they're very good in that front. They seem to find a suitable replacement to tie into with the way Pep plays. Yep.
I think we're a bit top heavy on wingers. Like there's Grealish, Foden, Savinho, Marmoush is more of a winger, and Doku. There's 5 wide players.
Yeah.
So there's nothing through the middle, only Haaland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It'll be interesting times ahead at the Etihad. And
Yeah.
you know, you've got the Liverpools, the Arsenals who thought they were going to do it. You know, it's Newcastle. You know, it'll be a big challenge for City next season. It'll be a big challenge to get the team together. And he doesn't have a lot of time. And of course, Spurs coming back. To the top half of the table. There's a table there. Yeah.
The table is 64 points. Yeah. I'd say you're safe for Champions League football for next year. I'd say without a doubt you're guaranteed it. We'll wait and see. Colin, thank you very much for that. I'm very grateful.
No problem.
You're welcome to stay with us. You're welcome to stay with us while we talk about our own two-week teams.
Brings us to a feature here that we have quite often. We call Emerald Eye. Play on the Emerald Isle. And you may not recognize either of those two sporting legends. I was at a 50th wedding anniversary of 2 very dear friends, Tony and Annette, recently in Bishopsgate. I had a wonderful time and a fabulous family. And one of them was able to point out to me that their uncle was Mr. John Crossan, or Johnny Crossan, or Jobby Crossan, as you know him. And he was famous, amongst other things, for bringing Man City up into the First Division in 1966. And he was signed by the great Joe Mercer. I had the privilege to speak with him. He's 86 years of age and very lean and sharp as a pin. He was able to tell me, well, there's some of his place started with Derry City, Coleraine, Northwest, Bristol City, Sparta Rotterdam, Standard Liège. You know, I'm reading down them. Sparta and Liège, he played in Europe with. He has a very interesting story. I would advise you to read it, We'll talk nowadays about player power and probably agree that it's too strong. Well, the pendulum swings because in those days it was probably club and authority power where there was far too strong and players did suffer. Enough about that. But Johnny had a great career. I saw him play at Windsor Park a number of times for Northern Ireland. He was in the same teams as Big Pat and Georgie Best, the Doug, and so on. Probably what you might call now an inside forward. But it was a privilege to meet him. As I said, he's still in touch with Mike Summerby. He keeps an interest in City. Some of his friends are Spurs fans. He does a great impression of Big Pat, who thankfully have been able to get him some complimentary tickets for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, previously White Hart Lane. But big shout out to John Crossan, an absolute gentleman and a legend. So thanks for speaking to me at the time.
Glad you met him. Glad you met him.
Okay, thank you. One more thing I probably need to say to you related to that is, sadly, the death of Peter McParland, who was amongst other things an Aston Villa legend and Northern Ireland international legend. He scored he's infamous too, probably for the barge on night with you at Alex, the United keeper in the 1957 Cup final, which Aston Villa won. He scored the goal which took Northern Ireland to the 1958 Cup finals and scored a few of them. He was probably a legend of his time. Very sad that he's gone and separated by water. Salutes you and passes our regards to family and friends. Okay, Paul, it would be remiss of us not to talk about Forest. What do you think? Can you give us a brief? I don't want to make it painful, if it is at all, or maybe you're positive. But what can you say?
Let's go back to your predictions at the start of the season. I said Nottingham Forest would be 14th. I spoke to Colin, the other Colin there, before we started, and I said, look where we are. Colin, we're playing Leicester on Sunday, which I'm over at. I'm going to the match. We're 61 points. If we win that, we're up sniffing around Man City and behind Man City in goal average. I don't know how the other results will go. It's in our own hands. It's in our hands. We can do this whatever way we want. We have, at the start of the season, as I said, if somebody had offered me an FA Cup semi-final and a potential Europa League or a Champions League position, I would have taken it. We have 5 teams above us. All of them are financial powerhouses of the Premiership.
Yeah.
You know, I have to be real. I had to have a talk with myself last week, you know, thinking I was getting all down about being slipping away and losing a couple of games. Colin said it to me again. I'd be very happy if, isn't that what you said, Colin? You'd be very happy if you were a Forest supporter. You'd be very happy.
Yeah.
And I am. I'm very happy, and I can't. Will I be disappointed if we don't get Champions League? I'll ratify that this way. If we get Champions League, we've no chance of winning it because we're not ready. But if we get Champions League, we'll get money, a financial package that will establish us to stay in the top half of the Premiership probably for a lot longer. Do we get the Europa League? We've a chance to go on and maybe do an Aston Villa in it and win it. You never know. A West Ham. Just wait and see. It's in the lap of the gods. I feel that the team are playing very hard for the manager. I think Nuno's a good manager. He's good at his statistician. He'll get them. He'll get the very best out of them. And we have a slightly, if there is such a thing as an easier run-in, I think there's a slightly easier run-in for us than the others. Newcastle, I think, are playing Chelsea this weekend. So that's there's somebody's losing points there. So I'm not worried, and I don't mind.
And you've got Chelsea yourselves at the end,
Chelsea are coming to us in the last day. Yeah, that doesn't worry me. It doesn't. I'm not. They've hit form. We've lost form. We'll just wait and see. And I think it'll come down to that game. I think it'll come down to that last game of the season.
I think it'll come down to the last game. We're away to Fulham, which is a hard place to go.
Absolutely.
So anything can happen.
Yeah.
It
really is. It's in the lap of the gods. But no, am I disappointed, Colin? And Collins plural. No, I'm not. I'm perfectly happy. I'd be more unhappy with your season than I am with yours, and I'm not saying that to be spiteful. Genuinely, I think that
to me,
to be sitting Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
Of
know,
course.
like, yeah, but it's yeah, we've lost form at a period. We've lost Hudson-Odoi in the left wing. We've still got Alanga. We've still got a makings of a team that can score goals. So we'll just have to hope for the best. Our defence is still very strong. A couple of wee mistakes that left us vulnerable, but overall, I'm happy, and I can't not be happy with what
No,
we've got or where we are at the minute.
of course, and you're still in there, and I watched the game the other night, and I thought, I've been a big flag waver for Wood, and I thought he just went off the boil a wee bit. But everyone's entitled, as you say, it's in your own hands, and that's a good thing. That usually worries me when I say that about Spurs, because
Yeah,
we'll find a way to lose.
yeah.
But from Forest's point of view, they've nothing to lose. You really don't. Pressures on the Newcastle and the Chelseas of the world, where the expectations are. And as you say, they're going to beat each other. So, hang in there. It was a good
I
point.
think
I think it was
Bournemouth.
a good point.
I think Bournemouth are far enough back that they're not going to encroach
No,
onto the
no.
Europa League position. So I'm very happy. I would take Europa League right now if you give it to me. But I'll just
You-
wait and see if we can get the Champions
Okay.
League.
Europa League's
Um,
a good tournament, no matter what anyone says. In fact, it's the
yeah.
best tournament this season, nearly. Well,
What about
we'll see.
yourselves tomorrow night? What about
Well, I mean,
yourselves
you talk
tomorrow night?
about your game, how many games you have to your season's over. I mean, our season could be over tomorrow night. I was over last Thursday. I had I traveled over with one of my mates, and we're talking about the last 5 times we had been at the stadium, we lost. So maybe I'm a Jonah. Hopefully not. I had my lucky T-shirt and lucky training shirt on, and they played well. For those who saw the video, Gary, I mean, good things about it. The weather was great. The atmosphere was magic on two ways and two levels. One was the Bodo fans took part and came into all the bars, sat with us, had a few pints. They're all called Lars or Thor or whatever it may be. We all let on, we knew what they were saying, oh, love you here today, it's all good, And we thought, but they were very, very happy bunnies. It looks like Bodo is a wealthy place because they just had that look about them, but with really good time. They added a lot to the atmosphere in the ground. The atmosphere in the ground was electric. And anyone who ever criticizes Tottenham's fans, have a look at it. It was electric. And the team didn't let us down. Not really, except, of course, and I know it was a deflection, but they get a goal. And to me, that changes the complexion somewhat. Bodo are talking themselves up. Of course they are. 4G plastic pitch, whatever you want to call it, 8,000, Arctic Circle, blah, blah, blah. Enough to have me thinking, geez, if they get an early goal, is there anything to play for here?
It's going to be about the
Madison's
first goal.
Madison's out of legends for the season. I know he's his critics. I like what he does. And I think we may miss him, but we'll see. We need another Spirit of Frankfurt to get us through. And then, of course, we'll be playing Man United, losing to them. Anyway, my hat's in the ring for a ticket, and we'll see how we'll go from there. And I think next week, Paul, we're going to do a Spurs United combined feature about how their seasons look as a result of what the outcomes are. We'll see how that goes. But that's really all from me for tonight. Colin, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to see City fans are still grateful for their lot. Sorry, Paul.
Well, being a City fan for over 50 years, I've seen everything. And it's only the last 10 years that I've seen the best. And I'm glad that the Arabs come in. Because it would have been just another Spurs, if you know what I mean. Just winning sort of bits and pieces.
Well,
never being dominant. No, we're dominant at the minute. Liverpool had their time. United had their time. Early 70s, Leeds were an absolute fantastic team. Leeds United, absolutely. Forest had their spell. They were absolutely brilliant.
That's right.
Spurs had their when they won the double. Early 60s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, on that note, I think we covered everything, haven't we? Over to you, Paul.
Anybody who's looking for the travel diary, Colin's travel diary, it's up on our channel, and it's on it's on the shorts or the video section. I'm not quite sure where they all go to when I put them up, but it's there to be watched. It's very good actually, and they look a happy bunch that you were doing with. Colin Todd, thank you very much for joining us, and I
thank
can't
you.
wish you all the best for the rest of the season. I just can't do that. But thank you for sharing the evening with us and telling us about your experience being a Man United supporter. Colin, good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Arsenal, good luck tonight. We'll call it a day, guys. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.
Thanks very much.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.